But we start off with the first two rounds of the Spanish Touring Car Championship, both being held at Jerez, and for the first time this year, the Spanish Touring Car races always two races at each meeting. On pole position, Eric van der Poel in the Nissan, alongside him Jordi Janné in the Opel Vectra, or Vauxhall Cavalier as we know them in the British Touring Car Championship. And in fact, both these cars built by Ray Mallock Racing, the same team that builds the Vauxhall Cavaliers for John Cleland and James Thompson in the UK. Well, the second of the Opels is being driven by ex-Formula 1 driver Alex Caffey. Then we see Giorgio Francia in the Alfa 155, a refugee from the German Touring Car Championship, this time racing in Spain. Behind them, Luis Perez Sala, the 1993 Spanish Touring Car Champion, and then Antonio Albacete in the BMW. Start of the race then, this first round of the Spanish Touring Cars, and it's Eric van der Poel from a pole position, suitably enough, but cutting down the inside is Jordi Janné. Janné, bit of contact between the two of them, but he squeezes through. So Jordi Janné, the man who raced in the British Formula 3 Championship a few years ago, has been doing Formula 3000, trying to get lead, but now Eric van der Poel cuts back in this, and oh, and somebody's hit Francia. Giorgio Francia just spinning in the background in the Alfa 155, and his race, well, effectively over at the second corner of the Jerez circuit. Back up front, Eric van der Poel from Jordi Janné, and Antonio Albacete has had a tremendous start. He's up into third place already, and the three leaders beginning to pull away from the opposition, with Luis Perez Sala next up, Louis Villamil not far away, and then Alex Caffey in the second of the Opels. Caffey not making a great start from the second row of the grid, but watch this, Antonio Albacete is going for second place in the BMW, trying to get round the outside of Jordi Janné. Oh, there's a bit of contact and he squeezes past. Janné runs wide and the BMW is up into second place. Just take another look at that. There was just a little contact there, nothing too untoward, and Albacete up into second position. Well, Albacete was driving the Opel himself in the 1994 Championship, has switched to BMW and now beginning to challenge Eric van der Poel. Oh, and he looks as though he's going to go through. Yes, indeed, Albacete takes the lead from van der Poel. Van der Poel, who raced in the British Touring Car Championship for Nissan, now in the Spanish Series, but he cannot hold off the rear-wheel drive BMW. BMW going through and taking the lead of the race. Well, the battle for second place still going on, and Jordi Janné now looking for a way past van der Poel, but you can see Antonio Albacete getting away. BMW took the last win of the 1994 season here at Jerez, and it's certainly looking good once again for them. Alex Caffey versus Luis Villamil a little further back, and that's another little private battle that's going on between those two as we turn our attention to second place again, and Janné tries to slot it down the inside. He really wasn't quite there, and yet he had a go at getting past. Oh, and it's all getting a bit fraught. Janné, really unnecessary amount of contact there as he trying to find a way past Eric van der Poel. Fair bit of damage now to that Opel Vectra in third position as a result of all those little nerfs and whatever. And he has squeezed through this time. That was better and cleaner stuff from Jordi Janné, squeezing past Eric van der Poel, so he does go into second position. But look at the lead that Antonio Albacete has managed to establish. Huge lead now over the Opel of Jordi Janné, and Eric van der Poel back into third position. Checkered flag is ready, and Antonio Albacete wins the first race in the Spanish Touring Car Series by quite a margin over second place man Jordi Janné and Eric van der Poel third, Luis Villamil fourth, Alex Caffey fifth, and Adrian Campos down in sixth position in that first race, which means he starts the second race from sixth on the grid. And Caffey, last year's champion for Alfa Romeo in the Spanish Championship. Off they go at the second race, and a great start from Eric van der Poel, and in fact a very poor start from Albacete, so it looks as though van der Poel's going to head them into the first corner. That really was a dramatic start from the Belgian in the Nissan, and he goes through. Carlos Palau, long way down in the Ford Mondeos, and the Mondeos struggling here at Jerez, certainly not very well on the pace. Other car being driven by Jesus Padilla, the ex-sports car driver, but both Fords not really there. So Eric van der Poel once again leading Antonio Albacete, but we saw the advantage that the BMW had in the first race. The question is, can van der Poel keep the BMW behind him for any longer? Same rules in the Spanish Touring Car Championship with regard to the wings that are allowed to be used, as we see the battle going on further back with both of the Opels. That was Alex Caffey moving up well as Antonio Albacete. Oh, and there's contact between the two leaders. Van der Poel is pushed off. Van der Poel goes off into the gravel. Well, Albacete. Let's take a look. Van der Poel came across, but Albacete also seemed to turn slightly into the back of Van der Poel's car. So the end result was there was contact between them. Albacete got away with it, but Van der Poel didn't, and in fact he's had to retire. So no luck for Van der Poel this weekend. Well, a little bit of damage to the right front of Albacete's car, but nevertheless still going, and he's being chased by Louis Villamil in the Alfa. It's going a little bit better now. Then we can see Adrian Campos and Alex Caffey. There is last year's champion Adrian Campos in the Alfa, and he's got the pressure on him now from Alex Caffey in the Opel Vectra. Oh, and Giorgio Francia is trying to join in the battle as well, trying to go around the outside. Doesn't look as though he's actually going to make it there. Meanwhile, Antonio Albacete, remember, is leading. Oh, and there's a bit of contact there. And oh, and again, once again, well, that was pretty unnecessary. And Caffey comes back out and straight into the side of Francia. Well, it's all getting fairly silly here, and all of the drivers partly to blame, has to be said, between both of them, Francia and Caffey, but really getting out of order. Watch Caffey, he just basically tried to drive straight into Francia, and no excuse for that really, but he was obviously fired up from the fact that Francia had been hitting him around the last couple of corners. So not a great advert for clean touring car racing here in Spain. Nevertheless, it looks as though Antonio Albacete is coming through to take his second checkered flag, second win of the weekend for Albacete, just ahead of Luis Villamil. Adrian Campos finishing third and Francia fourth. So with 3 Alfas in the top 4, a good result for them in the second race, but BMW victorious in both of the events.
Well, you're back with motors. This is Mark Cole looking at round 2 of the Spanish Touring Car Championship, a race held at Jarama, the Madrid circuit, where just 2 weeks previously the Karcher Global GT Endurance Series had been held, McLaren winning there. But touring car news hot off the presses today. The FIA has now confirmed the International Touring Car Series for the Class 1 German touring cars, and 7 races confirmed: Mugello, Helsinki, Donington Park, Estoril, Nürburgring, Manicur and Barcelona. So the clash of dates at Hockenheim with the Class 2 FIA World Cup has now been averted, and it's Nürburgring in August that replaces that October Hockenheim date, so watch that space. Let's go back to Jarama. 25,000 spectators here for round 2 of the CET, the Campeonato España Turismo. And as in Jerez for round 1, Belgium's Eric van der Poel in the Nissan Primera GT takes pole position. Well, after a second place in retirement in the 2 Jerez races, Van der Poel is looking for better in Jarama.
I would like to say, first of all, it's not really my specialty, but it's all the team specialty, because I'm not doing only me the super pole. I'm in a car, we have to work on the car during the week, and all together in one lap we have to give everything to have the perfect condition, and it works well until now, and I hope it will be more.
2 races in the first race, it's Van der Poel on pole position, immediately takes the lead ahead of Jordi Genet, Giorgio Francia, Antonio Albacete, Luis Perez Sala, Adrian Campos, Luis Villamil and Ignacio Guerrero. Pour down into the first corner here at the Madrid circuit. And look at Eric van der Poel just pulling away already now from Jordi Genet. Genet there in the Opel Vectra, and right behind them Giorgio Francia in the factory-supported Alfa Romeo. Then BMW, Antonio Albacete, having made a change from Opel last year. Then Perez Sala in the second of the factory Repsol Nissans. And right behind them, tucking in there, Campos, Villamil and Goiberu, all in the Alfa Romeos. Oh, big locking up there at the top end of the circuit for Van der Poel. They come back down the hill onto the main straight. Little change in the order at the moment. Albacete still hanging on there. Look at this. Francia making a big bid now for the lead. And through he goes on the inside. He goes on the inside of Van der Poel. Takes that lead, and indeed Genet's been pushed back by Albacete. Albacete there in the works-assisted BMW. Was a big problem though for 2 of the privateers, Viñes and Barrios, both spinning off at that first Repsol corner. Very daunting corner at the end of the longest straight here at Jarama. Giorgio Francia then, the man who has starred over the past years in the German Touring Car Championship, a man also who raced sports cars, Formula One, everything. And look at this, another move now on Van der Poel, and it's Alberchetti going through. Jordi Genet playing a watching brief there. Oh, but he's gone a little bit wide as Alberchetti in the BMW, yes, and Van der Poel goes back through on the inside in the Nissan, the Jan Speed prepared car, just nudging the BMW over slightly. Great race now between these three all around the circuit. Francia, of course, in the lead, gone ahead. Always a push again, Alberchetti giving him a hefty shove from behind, and Genet just playing a watching brief to see what happens. Oh, pushing all the way around. They go through these corners, Le Mans, Nürburgring, all the corners named after famous racing circuits throughout Europe, on a track here which was designed by John Hugenholtz, the man who built both Suzuka and... Oh, there he goes round. He gets pushed out of the way. Genet still managing to hold on to that second place in front of Louis Villemil, but look at Alberchetti. He is in trouble. He has slowed down. See it again in slow motion, a definite shove there. Now there is a repercussion later on. Alberchetti lays into Genet after the race and is excluded from the results despite continuing, given a 30-second penalty for the second grid on the race. So Francia wins race one in front of Van der Poel, Villemil and Perez Sala. Nissan taking second and fourth places. They're on the grid. Alberchetti's been pushed back. Based on the race, one results, Francia on pole in front of Van der Poel, Villemil and Perez Sala. Two cars still on the grid there. This gives Alberchetti a chance just to creep up around, and he's already well up in the order, but it's Van der Poel who takes the lead going into the first corner. Oh, he goes very, very wide indeed, and Villemil and Francia go through. Villemil made a great start, so Francia for some reason slowed up there. It's Villemil leading from Francia, from Campos, Alfa Romeo 1, 2, 3, then Perez Sala, then the Alfa of Ignacio Goiboru, Van der Poel next, then Alex Caffey and Jordi Genet. Alex Caffey at the wheel of another Opel Vectra, Ford just not shining at all here. Carlos Paulo right down the order in the field, as is Jesus Pereira. Men we've seen running at the front, completely outshone at the moment by the Nissans, by the Alphas, by the Opels, and indeed by BMW as well. Look at this Alpha train, 1, 2, 3, 4 cars now leading, then Goiboru and Van der Poel having both passed Perez Sala. Luis Perez Sala in some sort of trouble, a lot of locking up all around the circuit. Alberchetti just making up places all the time now, halfway through the race, and Alberchetti takes 6 from Van der Poel, very close to Goiboru. Only takes, a big collision there with Caffey in the Opel and Goiboru, but Alberchetti making the most of it in the BMW takes 5th place from Alex Caffey. And a lap later, it's now Alberchetti and Caffey both fighting. Goiboru, Alberchetti looking to go through into 4th place, so 3 Alphas still leading here. There he goes, no problem, up under the Pegaso hill, under the bridge, and the BMW really flying now. It's a big problem, of course, now for Goiboru there. He's got smoke pouring off that front wheel, rubbing on the bodywork, but it's still the 3 leading Alphas of Villemil, Francia and Campos. Can Francia make it a double? Oh, he's trying all he can. There's no team orders even amongst the Alphas, pushing all around the circuit. Alberchetti closing all the time. These 3 Alphas really holding themselves up. Oh, and it's the last lap now. Alberchetti's right with the 3 Alfa Romeos. Can he do anything about taking it? Listen to the crowd going wild. Oh, and Francia, left, right again. Alberchetti climbing all over the back of them. Up over the hill. Coming down for the final series of corners. Great late braking there. And Alberchetti takes that 3rd place away from Campos. Just one more corner, downhill, onto the straight. Can he do it? No, and Villemil wins that race from Francia, Alberchetti, Campos and Caffey. Great for the championship. Villemil leading with 57 points from Alberchetti, 52, and Giorgio Francia on 45 points. So round 3 of the series on May 28th at Barcelona, the Catalunya circuit. Of course, Eurosport will be bringing that to you on Motors, as always.
We start our program this week with Spanish touring car action from Catalunya. Well, the Spanish running the 2-litre Super Touring rules, as is the most of Europe now in touring car racing. Championship being led by Alfa Romeo at the moment. Alfa took the series last year, thanks to Adrian Campos. And this year it's Luis Villamil leading the series by just 5 points as they go into the third event of the year. But the man who's been doing well in qualifying, if not so much the racing, has been this man, Eric van der Poel, driving for the Nissan team, and he's taken his third pole in a row here in the third round, the third event of the championship. 2 races at each event in the Spanish Touring Car season.